How? Hita. Sensei Kwabin here. Moment with the Master, number 17. We're driving for leadership. Today's moment with the Master, we're looking at the conditions. We're looking at what's over our heads. What house are we operating in? Things look dire, right, family? Listen, we started off this series on leadership, moving and springboarding from greatness to leadership. And now, what do we want to look at? We want to look at where do we go from here? Why are leaders needed? Here's a question, quick question. Are you happy with the life story that you have up to this point? Up to this stage in the game? Can leadership survive without you answering the call? What does it look like? Is the house burning? Is the house in danger of collapsing? Listen, we see what's happening around us. Communities are drying up. Resources are drying up. Opportunities are drying up. Came across an article that talked about the possibility of getting a new job with the same salary that you currently earn. Not likely. It's diminishing. We are in a land now of diminishing returns. So here's a thought that came to my mind. And it is this very thing. And I heard it in a movie. It was said like this. It said, what we do in life, it echoes in eternity. What we do in life, it echoes in eternity. But now here, catch this spin. What Sensei Kwabin is going to say to you is that what we do in terms of our call to leadership, it echoes in the world around us. What we do in response to our call to leadership echoes in the world around us, or it doesn't. So back to that question, would you be willing to have the closing chapter of your story fold over its last page and the question come up? Sir, ma'am, young person, old person, male, female, are you happy with your life story and what you did in life that will now echo into eternity? The house. What house are we building? I'm looking at a leadership house. I want to be able to answer that question at the end of it, that yes, I am satisfied that I put something in the ground. I planted some seed that grew up into an oak. And my oak may not look like that person's oak or his oak or her oak, but it's my oak. And it has my identity on it because I responded to the seeds of greatness and the seeds of leadership that were planted inside of me. That's all we can do. That's all we have in our hands. That's all we have at our disposal, is to move in line, right? Move in line with what we've been called to do. And however that responds, however that hits, however that lands in other people's universe, in other people's world, as long as we are authentic with what the calling is and the line which we stand on, the ground in which we stand on, and we are authentic and genuine with that call, then we got to let things lie where they are. But each of us is given that driving incentive. It's born in each one of us to come and be compelled by that call to leadership that we each will experience. We each will have it. So I say what we do also, not only in life, but what we do in the dojo. What we do in response to the call to leadership, yes. But what we do in the dojo, it will also echo in the world around us. And why is that? Because here, what are we doing? We're putting feet on the ground and we are practicing martial arts as a lifestyle. That's the appeal. Martial arts as a lifestyle, so that when we leave here, the training does not end at the closing bell for today's class. The training extends. I'm thinking about that. What do I need to get better with in myself in addition to how I want to master the art of martial arts, which we practice? Two questions. What we do in life echoes in eternity. What we do in response to the call to leadership echoes in the world, and what we do inside the dojo echoes in the world. Your call to leadership, it might be driven by certain things. Remember, we talked about greatness triggers. A couple of lives ago, we talked about greatness triggers and those things that push you and move you and eat at you to push forward and push the boundary lines of what you're capable of doing. Hey, what you're even confident of doing. Greatness triggers, but one of the big ones might be self-actualization. How can I be the best? Or what can I move to be an example for with other people around me, my family, community, world, nation? What do I want to do? Because these days, how are we finding value in our existence? How are we finding value in what we do? How are we finding value in relationships? How are we finding value in what we give to the world? Or are we, as we talked about a few nights ago, are we just coping? Coping to exist, coping to survive. That's a strategy. Remember, it's two lanes. One lane, coping, and the other lane, leadership, greatness, response. Something is required of us. Greatness calls each of us to do something that is outside of our what? Our comfort zone, y'all remember, and our ability zone. In Dominion Dojo, creed number 2. What's creed number 2? Attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. And so we look at how we respond to our conditions and that portal of opportunity that's there before us. Each of us has it. Each of us has it. We have to walk into portals of opportunity every single day. Every single day, new portals of opportunity emerge. And guess what? Tomorrow never comes. It's always today. Today is the day of decision. Today is the day of putting your program into place. Today is the day to step out on faith. Now, what did we do last week? Last week we talked about how leadership, it takes time to build. We talked about the patience that's needed to evolve and to manage and to craft and to maneuver in place for what we have coming our way. We talked about how others will be involved with our leadership program and our leadership profile. Two things, our leadership program and our leadership profile, because how you look in a leadership uniform is not the same as how the person next to you looks in their leadership uniform. Particularly why we should not be looking at others to determine how we're going to move or what leadership angle we're going to take or how we're going to stand in the face of our call and response to leadership. We each do it individually. It's an individualistic response, but it's important and it's imperative. It's important and it's imperative. We also talked about that we are architects of our own progress. Put it in your hand. Put it in your hand. I totally believe it. I totally believe we're architects of our own progress, and it takes tenacity, and it takes pushing, and it takes moving, and it takes bumping up against things sometimes. But it takes waking up each day deciding I'm going to continue to work on my architectural masterpiece. What's your masterpiece look like? Or is the last page of that chapter in your life going to fold over and it's going to say, the end, dot. And there's not going to be much in between those lines. It's going to be on you. We're the architects. We have to decide to be architects. That was my preferred profession as a young person. So what do you want to be? I want to be an architect. Well, didn't quite make the exact profession, but here I am, architect of my own progress. Architect of my progress in martial arts, architect of my progress in life. And we talked about two other things, that leadership requires demonstration and proof. Demonstration and proof. As a matter of fact, regarding leadership, the only way we know that we are in the lane of real leadership is we develop what we call convincing proof. Now that could be applied in any discipline. Convincing proof. Convincing that you do now know. I'm still learning things that's going to carry me into that next level of profession, experience, right? Progress, growth, okay? So convincing proof. Leadership is going to ask of you things that stretch you out of that comfort zone, that stretch you into a zone of having to apply faith and having to apply your own personal perseverance and having to apply the energy and the drive which will carry you through anything that might be a roadblock, anything that might be critical noise, anything that might be a hurdle. That drive or that engine of leadership will be needed. And to develop that, it's a magic venture. It is a magic venture because listen to this. Here's the key thing about this leadership thing, right? We train hard in the dojo, yes. But sometimes the answer to our question, the answer to our push, even the answer to our fight strategy, if I could use an analogy, doesn't happen until we step out of the corner. Doesn't happen until we step into the gap. It doesn't happen until we move out on faith. It doesn't happen until we take the leap. It doesn't happen until we reach out. And we don't understand how it's going to materialize and evolve and overlap for our benefit until we take some steps of faith. And that requires boldness, that requires confidence, that requires ingenuity, that requires intent. As a matter of fact, here's something that you can use to develop this idea of faith, this idea of boldness. I call it V-sight. I make up analogies all the time. Vision. Have a strong vision. Work to develop a clear vision. And the second in V-sight is actually clarity. Clarity around the vision. It takes work. It takes energy. It takes spiritual energy. It takes third eye chakra type energy to get that vision and clarity. But if you worked enough, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you work to get the vision and clarity, next, intent. Intent, and what you're going to do? Intent, always focused intent. In a fight, we have focused intent. Right? We're here. What are we doing? I'm defending, I'm attacking. Focused intent. And the last, after vision, clarity, intent, after intent is actually focus. I said focus, intent, but intent, then focus, and then execution. So we have vision, clarity, intent, focus, execution. This is like a tool that we can use to develop that drive of leadership, the engine of leadership, the thing that gives us and gets us moving into a frame of leadership and a momentum of leadership. Whatever that looks like, whatever we're putting the energy to, we can use that as a frame. So leaders, leaders step out. Leaders don't sit back. You can't afford it. Leaders distinguish themselves. Leaders are the first ones sometimes to the line, or you might be a quiet, impersonal leader, and you influence in the way of progress, influence in the way of advancement, influence in the way of growth. You might not be the person standing on the line leadership, but you might be that leader who has their arm or their finger on the scale, making important decisions. So these are all things that we can use in our movement toward leadership. Big things, big thinkers, stretch, convincing proof. At Dominion Dojo, we coming down to the wire right here. At Dominion Dojo, we have a mantra. We have a mantra, and that mantra is Dominion Dojo! Anything is possible! Anything is possible. We believe, channel your personal will towards self-mastery and toward the realization that anything is possible. We're doing big things here. It's 2025. It's coming into spring of 2025. We are going to be the fastest growing dojo in this area that we exist in. And we believe and see that vision coming into play today, this time, right now. We invite you, partner with us. We're going to need you just like you're going to need us. Partner with us. If you partner with us in person, virtually, or in spirit, you may be too far away to do it in person. In spirit, come with Dominion Dojo, partner with us on this vision of growth, and we will report to you exactly what our results are. We will report to you the outcomes that we have sought and that we have found. This has been Sensei Kwabin with your moment with the master, number 17, the drive to leadership. Come on now, family. Let's all do it. And let me know how things go. If you need a coach, greatness, leadership, sensei, reach out to me at dominiondojo.org, dominiondojo.org, or dominiondojo@gmail.com. This is Sensei Kwabin, and as you know, this has been your moment with the master. I'm out of here. Us!